wasn't for family hustle.
Right.
That does come with some, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
Breaking news. Tonight, everyone on the planet is in shock. After a vicious, well-planned attack inside a prison, King Harris, the son of hip-hop icon T, is in critical condition. This goes beyond simple violence. This is a disaster beyond anyone's wildest expectations. According to sources, the young celebrity was hurried to the hospital by prison guards, barely breathing and bruised and broken. He is now kept alive by machines. His chest only rose with the aid of cables and tubes, and his body was covered in bandages. King Harris is more than simply a prisoner anymore. He is a victim of what many have dubbed the most sinister conspiracy in the history of hip-hop. Fans are lining the streets outside the hospital, praying, screaming his name, and holding candles. Hashtag prayer forking is a global trend on social media. And the world has been rocked by a father's cry in the midst of the storm. "I don't care about justice," T pleaded to the cameras as tears ran down his cheeks. "All I want is for my son to live. God, please don't take him away from me." However, the nightmare doesn't end there. A disturbing fact has been exposed by a nurse's audio that was leaked. It wasn't a battle that just happened. This hit was prearranged. The most important query at this point is, who desired King Harris to be silenced? Everything will be decided in the following 24 hours. Will he live, or will a prison plot cost hip-hop a prince? Breaking news. Disbelief, heartache, and instability are engulfing Atlanta. Rap legend T.I.'s young kid, King Harris, is in critical condition following a brutal and vicious prison attack that even seasoned detectives are calling it one of the most heinous attacks ever seen within Georgia's prison system. Imagine this: a chilly hospital hallway. There was a strong antiseptic odor in the air. A delicate heartbeat is accompanied by the beeps of machines. King Harris is lying unconscious behind a glass wall, his face colorless, his body mutilated, and his chest only rising as a result of machines forcing him to breathe. While doctors mumble things no parent wants to hear, nurses hurry in and out. We are unable to ensure that he will survive the night. T, the man who created a hip-hop empire, is now a helpless parent outside of the intensive care unit. His eyes are swollen red from unending tears, his hands shake, and his voice cracks. He shudders in front of the cameras gathering outside. "Please, God, don't allow my son, my precious boy, to pass away in this manner." Fans are incredulous. The tragedy that befell the Harris family has become the agony of the globe. Outside the hospital, thousands of supporters have gathered to demand answers, carry candles, and recite prayers. Social media is exploding. Every platform is dominated by hashtag Pray4K and hashtag Pray4K. However, as the inquiries increase, so does the sympathy. And nobody could have predicted how horrifying the responses would be, because this wasn't merely a prison yard brawl. This had nothing to do with two prisoners fighting out of rage. This was well thought out, planned, and carried out with terrifying accuracy. According to several insiders, jail's security cameras, which are always on and never cease recording, mysteriously stopped working right before King was attacked. There is silence, no video, and no evidence of who did it. A cry of conspiracy in the hush. The leak then appeared. Within hours, a purported audio recording made by a nurse in the intensive care unit went viral. She whispers, her voice shaking in the recording. This wasn't random. It was a setup. Someone nearly succeeded in their goal of having him silenced. Her remarks spread like wildfire around the internet. Who desired the stillness of King Harris? What made T's son, a young guy already fighting to survive the harsh realities of prison, the target of such violence? There are a ton of theories, all of them more sinister than the previous. According to others, King discovered secrets within the prison. Secrets pertaining to top-level corruption, smuggling, contraband, and guards. Others think that his father's powerful enemies planned this revenge to show his family that no amount of wealth, celebrity, or authority could protect them from the harsh realities of the system and the streets. The most horrifying hypothesis, however, was that this was personal and not merely prison politics. An externally commanded hit that was meticulously planned to occur where King was most exposed. The stress in the hospital is intolerable. When physicians initially informed Tiny King's mother that her son's condition was critical, she passed out in the hallway. Videos of her yelling, "Why my baby? Why him?" has gone viral, bringing unfiltered, agonizing emotion to timelines. This story has become a worldwide tragedy due to the portrayal of a devastated mother pleading for her son's life. T, meanwhile, is engaged in conflict on all fronts. He is meeting with legislators, phoning attorneys, pressing jail officials who are rushing to cover their tracks for answers. However, he has gone beyond justice in his desperation, with tears streaming down his cheeks. He stood outside the hospital and begged for something far more basically freer than retaliation or legal action. "Whatever it takes, I don't care. Who I have to ask is irrelevant to me. Just let my boy live, please." Millions of hearts have been broken by the weight of those words. However, there is a terrifying reality hidden beneath the tears and prayers. King Harris might not make it. The next 24 hours are crucial, according to medical professionals. The ICU monitor's beeps feel like a countdown. It seems like every minute might be his last. However, fresh evidence keeps coming to light, while the Harris family holds on to hope. There is evidence that this was more than just carelessness. The reason was orchestration. People are coming forward to expose wrongdoing. According to an unnamed prison employee, we were instructed to ignore it. Not only did the cameras malfunction, but they were also turned off. This is what someone wanted to happen. This would completely upend the system if it were true. It would imply that those who vowed to protect justice were also the ones who permitted this atrocity to occur. The world thus waits. Praise from the Harris family. And with the entire world watching, King Harris, a young man who was once made fun of for his luxury but is now the victim of one of the most sinister prison conspiracies imaginable, battles for his life. This is no longer merely a tale of violence in prison. This is a tale of treachery, corruption, and the cost of celebrity. This is a tale of a mother's breakdown, a father's tears, and a son's struggle for survival. And it's just getting started. When King Harris's illness deteriorates, the narrative takes a darker turn. The sounds of machines take the place of the laughter and excitement that previously surrounded the young star as ICU monitors beep in the background. Doctors avoid direct replies by whispering in the hallways. Meanwhile, this tragedy has been transformed into a circus by the media, with headlines yelling, "King Harris clings to life." T is pleading with God for a miracle while on his knees. But the unsettling turn was something no one anticipated. There are currently rumors circulating that this incident was not random. According to unnamed insiders, King was only a pawn in the vicious game played by rival gangs who wanted to send T a message. And the altercation in the jail was staged. Some said that dishonest officers within the establishment might have even turned a blind eye, enabling the attack to proceed. T is now asking for answers in addition to praying for his son's survival. Who desired the departure of my boy? Several videos of T outside the hospital have gone viral on social media. Swollen eyes and a cracked voice. Speaking into the cameras, he exclaims, "My son is fighting for his life. My heart was taken by you all and placed in a cage." While some fans spread conspiracy ideas, others pour forth prayers on Instagram and Twitter. Was there any connection between this and the hip-hop industry? Was King singled out due to his vocal internet views? Or was there a more serious reason for this punishment? Something connected to T's personal history. King lies still in the intensive care unit with tubes extending from his arms, chest, and lips. Every hour, nurses rush in to check his vitals as the family members remain silent. Outside the room, Tiny King's mother sobs and yells, "They wanted to kill my baby. Their goal was to destroy us." Once glistening with riches and fame, the family's business now appears to be crumbling beneath the weight of sorrow. However, the most startling allegation then emerges: audio that was released from inside the prison. We were instructed to make it appear like a brawl. but King was the goal, according to a voice purportedly belonging to another prisoner. They were determined to bring him down. Although the recording's veracity has not been confirmed, its dissemination has inflamed anger. Has King fallen prey to a more complex scheme? Fans, cameras, and reporters encircle the hospital as the night wears on. While some protest and pray, others blame King on the legal system. In a widely shared video, a supporter yells, "Y'all shield criminals, but you couldn't shield a detained child." King is chanted by the audience who are calling for accountability. T, meanwhile, won't leave his son's side while they are in the hospital. At one point, according to witnesses, he passed out on the ground while holding King's hand and muttering, "Please don't leave me, son. Fight, please." Even those who previously chastised him have been moved by the anguish in his voice. For the first time, the rapper is viewed by the public as a broken father rather than a superstar. Then the most shocking turn of events occurs. The family was reportedly informed by doctors that King's brain activity was waning. Although not brain dead, there is a significant chance of long-term harm. He might not be the same person ever again. According to one insider, these remarks went viral online, sparking millions of heartbreaking, irate, and incredulous replies. When Tiny heard the update, she reportedly screamed hysterically and fell to the ground. When Tia's emotions became too volatile, he needed to be removed from the intensive care unit. He was seen on camera shaking his head outside and declaring, "The world is going to burn if my son doesn't make it." Those words have now gone viral, generating both controversy and pity. I swear to God, celebrities have joined the pandemonium, making it much worse. In their tributes, several rappers implicitly criticized T.I.'s industry rivals, while others blame the jail system. A well-known producer made this startling comment: "When you play with fire, sometimes the flames reach your family." Fans are speculating after reading the enigmatic post. Was there a connection between this tragedy and past feuds? Even worse, there are unverified rumors that King flatlined for a brief period of time throughout the night. Although the doctors were able to revive him, it is evident that his life is in a precarious state. With hashtags like #PrayForKingHarris and #JusticeForKing trending globally, fans exploded online. Some even assert that some powerful people wish to silence this story. There are rumors that the media has been under pressure to avoid delving too deeply into the role of the prison. Was this just a vicious fight in the jailhouse? Or was King Harris the object of a more sinister plot? A warning? A setup? Or perhaps retaliation against his well-known father? Atlanta is tense by daybreak. There are hundreds of people gathered outside the hospital. People carrying posters of King's face and sobbing during candlelight vigils. Anger and grief are both prevalent in the atmosphere. A city in mourning for a young person who is trapped in a nightmare. Inside, T holds his son's hand as he sits by his bed and says out loud, "God, take me, not him. Permit me to bear this suffering. Keep my boy from suffering." The internet has gone crazy over the remarks that were captured in a leaked video from someone in the intensive care unit waiting room. Millions of people are sharing it and describing it as the most painful and personal moment they have ever seen from the artist. The most important question, though, is still whether King will live. Or would this catastrophe signal the end of a legacy as a whole, not simply the future of a young man? The world waits for the next update while watching in terror, because this will be more than just a family's loss if King fails. It will be the most terrible period of T's life, a cultural earthquake, the end of a dynasty, and the dissolution of hip-hop royalty. While the night dragged on into sorrow, T and his family felt as though time had stopped. King Harris's weak body was still connected to machines, and only life support allowed his chest to rise and fall. The eerie monitor beeps reverberated around the intensive care unit. Every sound served as a reminder of his impending permanent disappearance. Then chaos broke out once more in the early hours of the morning. Following King's vitals abruptly dropping, doctors hurried into the room. There was screaming in the hallway outside. "Not my baby," Tiny cried as she fell into a chair, her hands shaking wildly. "Don't, please, my baby." T was spotted yelling, "Y'all save him," and hammering on the ICU doors while being restrained by security. "Please don't allow my son to perish here." The terrible reality: King had once more flatlined. Doctors battled to resuscitate him for several minutes. When someone inside the hospital surreptitiously recorded the scene, the family's private misery became public knowledge. T is seen in the now viral video falling to his knees in the corridor with his hands clasped together in fervent prayer. "Take everything I own, Lord," he says in a broken voice. "Please take my name. Consider my profession. Don't steal my boy, please." The internet was shattered by that clip. Fans all throughout the world were devastated, filling timelines with anger, heartache, and prayers. Globally, the hashtag #SAVEK trended at the top. However, there was a darker aspect to the prayers. Conspiracy claims that this catastrophe was planned to permanently destroy T, or that the Harris family was cursed. Then there was another twist. According to hospital reports that were leaked, King's skull was severely damaged, presumably by a weapon used during the jail attack. He was allegedly attacked by a padlock concealed in a sock, a vicious weapon frequently used in prison brawls, according to witnesses inside the facility. The assertion that guards didn't step in until it was too late, however, startled the entire world. "They saw it take place. It's like they wanted him to suffer," one source remarked. Outrage has been stoked nationwide by this discovery. Signs that read "Justice for King" and "The system failed him" are now carried by protesters outside the hospital. Authorities are even accused by some of hiding the truth, shielding the assailants, and stifling witnesses. T, meanwhile, confronts his lowest point. He was caught on tape yelling, "If y'all don't protect my family, I'll burn this whole system down myself." As he stormed out of the hospital, his voice was trembling with anger and his face was bloated with anguish. He had the appearance of a man about to blow up. However, what followed devastated followers even more. According to sources, physicians secretly cautioned King's family that he might never fully recover, even if he survives. Speech loss, paralysis, or brain injury. The potential outcomes are catastrophic. When Tiny heard her sobs reverberating down the hospital hallway, she started crying. King's sister Zanique was seen yelling, "This isn't fair," while holding her mother. He wasn't worthy of this. At the same time, startling information about the assailants started to surface. According to reports, they belonged to a jail group associated with T.I.'s former adversaries. Now, some fans think the attack was a deliberate message, a retaliatory act intended to destroy the Harris legacy. Online arguments are heated. Was King Harris the victim of a planned strike that was organized from outside? Or was this merely prison violence? A mystery Instagram account that claimed to know the real identity of the person who ordered the attack added fuel to the flames by posting cryptic messages. "The sins of the father fall on the son" was the title of one post. King was never the subject of this. It has to do with T, although the account has now been removed. Followers are outraged by the screenshots that are making the rounds. The atmosphere in the hospital is oppressive. Following threats made against the Harris family, security has increased. Outside, thousands of people are still praying for a miracle while shouting King's name at candlelight vigils. It seems as though Atlanta is holding its breath. Then another blow to the gut. It's late at night. According to reports, King's condition deteriorated once more. It is said that during an emergency family meeting, doctors asked the unimaginable. Do they think King should be taken off life support if he doesn't get better? Screams broke out in the room, according to reports. Tia yelled at the physicians, "You don't get to decide when my son's story ends," as Tiny passed out. The public's grief and rage have only grown as a result of that terrifying update. Millions of people on the internet now think that King's fate is a struggle between faith and despair, justice and corruption, and life and death, rather than just a medical one. Celebrities are still contributing. While some fueled the issue, others pledged their support. One rapper said in a startling post, "You guys don't even know half the truth." This wasn't a coincidence. Years ago, this was planned. That mysterious remark has led to a lot of conjecture. who genuinely desired King gone. One image dominates the others throughout. T is sitting next to his unconscious son, sobbing as he holds his hand. He is seen speaking into King's ear in a leaked picture, saying, "I won't leave this room until you wake up. You hear me?" Daddy is correct here. King Harris's tragedy has become a global tale because of that picture, which has broken hearts all over the world. Fans plaster it on posters, news sources play it repeatedly, and the internet refers to it as the most tragic image in hip-hop history. However, the question that no one wants to ask is still open. Will King Harris make it through this ordeal? Or is the world getting ready to see the greatest catastrophic loss in the history of rap? Because this will be more than just a son's death if the unimaginable occurs. It will mark the end of an era, the fall of a dynasty, and the scariest period of T's life. And millions of people pray for one thing tonight as candlelight vigils light up Atlanta's skyline: that King Harris defeats the curse that would keep him silent forever and opens his eyes. We now leave you with one unsettling reality. Family, King Harris's future is precariously uncertain, and everything will be decided in the next 24 hours. Will he awaken and defend himself? Or will this catastrophe be the worst loss in hip-hop history? Consider it. There is more to this tale than a youngster in the intensive care unit. In this story, a father is pleading for compassion from the world while on his knees. An entire generation of followers hoping for a miracle, and a mother crumbling under the weight of unimaginable anguish. This is greater than hip-hop itself, more significant than music, and more significant than celebrity. This is the essence of mankind. And none of us can possibly fathom the nightmare that the Harris family is currently going through. But consider this. Was this merely violence in a prison? Or was it a message or a setup? A vicious act of retaliation meant to destroy T by means of the one he cares about the most. This scenario is made even more sinister by the unresolved issues, and the authorities' silence only serves to increase suspicion. There's no doubt about it. King's family won't be the only ones affected if he fails. Millions of people worldwide who witnessed his rise to fame will be devastated. Therefore, I beg you to pray for King. Support his family and keep in mind the pictures we saw. The boy who would never wake up again, the cries, the shattered voices, and the silence. Because in the worst-case scenario, this will be remembered as the night a father's heart was torn from his chest in public, and the night hip-hop lost its breath.